think a lot of Niner fans are wondering what this Sam Darnold means. Let me try this again in English. I think a lot of Niner fans are wondering what this Sam Darnold news means for Trey Lance. Does this mean that the Niners are secretly in love with Darnold? Is he their new project? Does Lance have to worry? Could he get traded? Or is this just another guy who may not even make the team in Sam Darnold?
I've already talked about this today a lot on my channel. Okay. So I actually think that Lynch made it sound like at the combine, like Trey was going to be dealt then. And I told people that I talked to that I'll wait and I'll just take that quote as just a quote until they get a third string quarterback that really seems like a starter or two. And today they got a third string quarterback who kind of looks like a starter or two. I'm not saying that you're a good team if you've got Darnold as your starter, but I look at him as a one or a two, and on this team probably a clear two behind Brock, but with the ability to maybe evolve into a one around this cast and with this offensive play caller. So I kind of look at this as they're going to try. They're at least going to be. I think there's teams that are going to want Trey Lance and make a good offer. I don't think the Niners are handing him to anybody. I don't think they should, but I think they are going to trade him on draft day. That would be my guess. And I think I could see him going to Tennessee for the 11th pick. Now, a lot of people want to shout me down and say I'm rooting for it. I'm not rooting for it, but I think Lynch told us at the combine that his timeline and the Niners timeline, Trey's timeline and the Niners timeline don't jive. And I
think that's pretty amazing that the Niners, I think it's amazing that the Niners had that epiphany now. Like, we could have told you that 2 years ago. They seem so confident, though, when they drafted Trey Lance. It's like, well, you guys must know what you're doing. And then 2 years later, hey, guys, we just realized our timelines we have two timelines here. It's not right. Oh, yeah. That's why we were kind of scratching our heads when you made this deal. Whatever. Just saying.
I mean, am I reading that wrong? Or what? I mean, are you getting the same thing out of that? Or what because to me, what Lynch said at the combine was like, Trey's got to play, and that's our challenge. And it's like, it's not really a challenge, John. You only have Brock Purdy, and he's not healthy. That means Trey gets to play all of May.
You could play him this season.
All of July, all of August, maybe even half of September. You've like 5 months to develop Trey Lance as the number one guy. Why is that a challenge that, I don't understand that. Unless he's saying, unless he's implying that Trey's not ready to play now.
Couple of things. I feel like John and Kyle talk about Trey differently. I feel like John's kind of dismissive of Trey, whereas Kyle tries harder to find nice things to say about him. That's one interpretation. So, I mean, I'd like to hear what Kyle Shanahan says about Trey Lance before I predict whether he's getting traded draft night. The other thing is, it's possible the Niners are open to trading Trey Lance, but might wait a little bit because maybe they want to wait and see what they have in Brock Purdy when he finishes his rehab before doing anything like that with Trey Lance. Maybe they want to.
It should be when?
Maybe mid-September. Well, when it's all done. When it's all done, when it's all done and he's fully recovered, like, what does that look like? Is he the same? Is he better? Is he worse in terms of his arm? Maybe then maybe you want to see what you have in Sam Darnold for an offseason before you make a rash decision with Trey. That being said, if Trey starts the first 2 games, Brock comes back, Brock looks great, and Sam looks good too, and they feel like there's no future for Trey here, maybe they feel like, you know what? We upped his trade value with these starts. Now let's trade him. I could see it happening. I don't know if it's going to happen draft night, but I like what you're saying. It makes sense. It's a very compelling argument. The way that John Lynch put it at the combine definitely opens the door for this. I definitely see what you're saying.
Well, I mean, I look at it this way. I'm just looking at the other teams in the league. Like, if I'm Rand Carthon, I have Ryan Tannehill, I have Malik Willis, I've got a head coach that expects to win now, and I've got no real quarterback of the future, and I know Trey Lance. If Rand likes Trey, Rand's just starting his time there. He's got a couple of years to invest into Trey if he believes Trey is going to be great. And they pick like in the top dozen picks, and that would be a premier player for the 49ers. If you had a player in the top dozen picks, you might be able to get a difference maker that can help you win next year's Super Bowl. So I don't know. It's an interesting situation.
And there's sort of been smoke around that, right?
I think Trey's going to be an attractive option that would be a reasonable trade option, I think, if I'm Tennessee.
When Rand Carthon got the job, Trey Lance, you put the little thing out on Instagram with the fingers crossed emoji, and Kyle Shanahan even said that he went up to him and said, "Are you getting traded to the Titans?" And Trey's like, "Ah ha ha ha." Duh. But yeah, there's like as a natural, if he's going to get traded anywhere, it's so obviously a natural fit with the Tennessee Titans. To your point, John Lynch said what he said at the combine. Now they brought in Sam Darnold, and you wonder where does this team feel about Trey? They could trade him on draft night. They could trade him 3 weeks into the season. At any time, this could happen, but it'd be interesting. If they traded him on draft night, then again, they would need to draft a quarterback just to get through an offseason's worth of practices. Or they could go sign Nate Sudfeld. Nothing against
They have
Nate.
11 picks.
They do?
If John Lynch loves Tanner McKee from Stanford, you could draft him. Or
what's not to
Jake
love?
Hayner from Fresno State, or DTR,
Sure.
as you and I have talked about. Or, I mean, the round 3, the day 3 quarterbacks in this draft are intriguing as hell.
I got another name for you. BYU quarterback Jaron Hall. I kind of like him. He's a good athlete. He's got a quick release. He throws a nice deep ball.
Stronger than you think, and he's another one. It's a Clayton Tune from Houston, good looking player.
Let me say something real quick to Niner fans. Niner fans, if you don't want the Niners to trade Trey Lance, be vocal about it, because I really believe that the Niners traded up with the intention of drafting Mac Jones, and Niner fans got so upset and got so loud about how much they didn't want Mac Jones. I think the organization folded and went with their second choice, or 1B. Let's call them 1B. I think they went with 1B because Niner fans were so upset. So if you don't want Trey Lance to get traded to the Titans, just tweet at Jed York relentlessly. He'll listen.
It's a grassroots campaign.
Grassroots, it works. Ominous24 says, because more than anything, Jed York wants to be liked. And I think he doesn't really want to make his fans unhappy. He did that when he fired Jim Harbaugh, and I think he vowed to just essentially please you guys. So you know what? Tell him what you want. Ominous24 says, Jimmy McGlinchey gone today rivals the day Singletary was fired. Physically can't stop smiling. He physically can't stop smiling. Well, congratulations to you, Ominous24. Austin says, I think Darnold is a financial chess piece for the Niners. Have him start the year, get a few wins with him, and trade him high in free agency for some picks. Well, you could get a comp pick if he signs elsewhere.
It's actually, think about what Austin is saying there, though, Grant. Let's say Kyle really does think, man, if I just had this guy in our system, he'd look great. And let's just say, for example, that they're all in still on Trey and all in still on Brock, right? They have Darnold playing in the preseason. Let's say it looks good. Maybe even Darnold has to play a little bit at the beginning of the year. He looks good. You get to October, a team needs a quarterback. You might be able to trade him for a 4th round pick.
I got another scenario for you, and it might not be as fun for Niner fans. What if Darnold comes in midseason like Brock did last year as a backup? There's some injuries. He comes in, kills it. Offense is clicking. He's in the best situation of his life, wins a bunch of games, maybe wins a playoff game or two, starts 8 games, free agent. What do the Niners do? They give him $500 million. It could happen, though. It could happen, though. The Niners always put themselves in that position. They did it with Jimmy. That would be funny. Fish and chips. I can see why Headache likes Darnold, fits the scheme. What's interesting to me is that Saleh, first thing he did when he got the job in New York was get rid of this guy. Now Kyle brings him in. If he wins with Darnold while Saleh's losing with the replacement for Darnold, that would kind of be, well, Zach Wilson's out, though.
What would you say Darnold does well? You know, the old part, from Office Space. What would you say you do here? What does Darnold do? Like, because he's got a low completion percentage and he's got a lot of picks. He's not super mobile. I'm not sure what exactly he does.
Nothing. Honestly, he was a classic overhyped USC quarterback.
Yeah.
Classic. But
Rob Johnson.
I mean, yeah. I theoretically, he doesn't do anything well, but he does a bunch of things decently. He's kind of, he's got decent size. He's got decent mobility, maybe. I can't even do that. I don't even know what to say, man.
He's Matt Barkley with 2 more inches of height.
He's a little bit, he's not quite Matt Barkley. John B says, Sam is QB3, 0 chance Trey gets traded. Lynch was simply saying the challenge is Trey needs to play, and to do so, Trey needs to stay healthy. Trey is QB1. Is that John L or John B? Thank you, John Lynch, for writing in and explaining.
I can see where he got that out of there, but I don't know.
I think that was John Lynch's burner. He goes by John B. No one will ever see it coming. Todd Labor says, what do you guys think of the Niners bringing in Adam Thielen? I think Trey will get traded to Minnesota for draft picks. I think Kirk Cousins might go to Green Bay for some reason. What do you guys think? Wow, that's a lot. Let's go slowly. So Adam Thielen, what do you think?
No.
He's old.
Shanahan likes receivers who separate. This guy doesn't separate at all right now. And even though I liked him, but I mean, he needed top flight separation ability, and now he's not. Now he's in the twilight. How old is Thielen? I would say no.
Too old.
I don't think the Niners need any receivers. They literally could just run back with what they got.
I mean, they say they haven't even seen what they have in Danny Gray yet, and I would like to see anyway. Trade to Minnesota. You already mentioned Tennessee. What do you think? Would Minnesota be interested? I think they might be if they want.
I mean, it would be a great position for Trey to be in. Justin Jefferson and playing in his backyard. He's from Marshall, Minnesota. I mean, in some ways, that would be just like, I mean, that's the thing. That's the scary part about the idea of trading Trey is that you better get, how do you think the Warriors traded James Wiseman? It already kind of looks bad. And it's going to look worse probably 5 years from now. And the Niners could look really, really bad if they trade Trey and he goes on to some Brett Favre-like career in Minnesota.
And this is the other thing with Trey is like, they can feel however they want to feel or however confident or unconfident in his future, but they saw what happened with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had a dramatic improvement. And if he can do it, they still have to say that it's possible Trey Lance could do it too. And they don't freaking know. And they might want to hold on to him just to find out. Because if he goes somewhere else and turns into Jalen Hurts, to your point, they look really, 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 really stupid. But they know that. It's a tough position. Jalen Hurts puts them in a tough position. They got to kind of see this through.
The one thing we don't know, Grant, is we don't know the behind the scenes. Behind the scenes could be Trey's agent or his family saying the reality of what John said to us at the combine, which is Trey's got to play. But they may be saying it in a way that's not like, hey, Trey's got to get out there. It's like Trey has to play. Like if you're not going to play him, he needs to go. We don't know. We don't know how it's being said on the backside.